Look into my eyes. When you see me on a show, when you see these fans, you know you've got the best in the damn world.
This is the Wrestling Matters podcast where we stand up for professional wrestling.
Here we fucking go!
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change!
Professional wrestling! This is it! This is us standing up! Yes! 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 Yes!
That's 13-14!
Dina, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold Simpson.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another installment of WCPW Podcast, brought to you by the Wrestling Matters Podcast. I am your host for this podcast, the one and only Anthony Walker, created, host, and produced for your listening pleasure. Wow, WCPW loaded, episode 6. There's been 4 shows, Built to Destroy, 1 episode, so that's 6 shows altogether. So this is the 7th show that WCPW will put out on their YouTube channel, and yeah, what a very interesting way to start, and what a way to go. Very intriguing match, intriguing way to start off the show. Noam Dar and Doug Williams had a bit of a confrontation after the last match. Noam Dar challenged Doug to a match where he wins, he gets his spot against Cody Rhodes in October. But Doug countered and said, if I beat you, you leave WCPW forever. More on that later. Joseph Connors and Ligero had a great match to kick off the show. Very good match. Back and forth stuff. 2 guys going at it. Ligero is one of the best, if not the best wrestlers in Britain at the moment to come out of Mexico. And Joseph Connors is a guy looking to make a name for himself, but coming second best to one Joe Hendry. Like I say, good match nonetheless. And a great counter saw Ligero get the victory. Now, where does this leave Joseph Connors? Because he needed a victory in this match to get some sort of push to the point where he can do this on his own and he doesn't really need Joe Hendry. But yeah, I still believe, and I still stand by this, guys, there's going to be a match between Joseph Connors and Joe Hendry somewhere down the road. Don't know when it'll be, don't know how it's going to pan out, but it's building. You can see it building. Yes, they've had a reconciliation on last week's episode. I don't buy it one bit. And if it lasts this long, hey, fair play to them. But Ligero, great match, back and forth stuff, and Ligero gets the victory. Connors, back to the drawing board for him, I guess. Blampied comes out in a segment and mocks Aron Stevens, much to Stevens' coach, his forte, if you will, and Steven comes out and affronts him. Blampied's big mouth got him in one too many situations, and Mr. Blampied paid for it because Adam kicked him where it hurts. One straight kick right between the legs. And apparently, Blampied ended up in hospital because of it. Either way, Mr. Blampied got used for Damo, because next week, Aaron Stevens goes one-on-one with Damo for the WCPW title. And Mr. Stevens, who's now Aaron Rex in TNA, decided to use Mr. Blampied to send a little message to Big Damo, the WCPW heavyweight champion of the world. Speaking of the world champion, Coffey stands up for himself and goes into the GM's locker room and demands a WCPW World Championship match and gets his wish. So the main event, which was supposed to be Noam Dar and Doug Williams, changes and becomes Joe Coffey versus Damo for the WCPW World Heavyweight Championship. Now we go on to the fun match. That's right. Grado one-on-one with Kirby. That's right, Matt and Kirby. Grado having fun. He was in control for the first portion of the match. Then Kirby got his blows in. And then Grado makes Kirby and gets the win with a wee boot. He mocks him, actually. He makes him pay. Because at one point during the match, Kirby got Grado's fanny pack, the bumper pack that he always carries around with him, opens it, pulls out a toothbrush, and wipes his backside with the toothbrush. But Grado made him eat the toothbrush, hits a wee boot, and gets a victory, so a little bit of a payback. While Grado was celebrating, Drake once again attacks him from behind. He did this to Jay Lethal, and he did it to Grado now. Prospect come out and help out, watch the carnage ensue, if you will. And then Joe Henry and Joseph Connors come out and make the save. And then James R. Kennedy comes out and makes a 6-man tag team elimination, or challenges Grado, Joseph Connors, and Hendry to a 6-man elimination tag team match. After losing to Joe Coffey at Built to Destroy, Primate is backstage completely pissed, angry, and ready to let loose. And then Prince Amin throws his rating round and forces Gabriel Kidd to go one-on-one with Primate. What a dick. Anyway, part 1 of the main event saw Doug Williams go one-on-one with Noam Dar. A straight wrestling match. Dar on occasions had Williams. Williams uses dirty tactics. He also had Williams on occasions. It was a great match between the two. A good old-fashioned British wrestling match at its best. And then Williams beats Dar's attempt for a pin, counters it into his own, and ends Noam Dar's WCPW career. That's right, the guy with the personality of a brick wall ends Noam Dar's WCPW career, and Noam Dar says goodbye, and Doug Williams still manages to have his match set for October when he will go one-on-one with Cody Rhodes, which should be intriguing. I hope Cody beats the living tar out of him. But in any event, Primate and Kidd went one-on-one thanks to Prince Amin. Primate just completely destroyed Kidd, to be honest with you. Although Kidd did hold his own, but Primate hit a spear and then gets a head scissors on Kidd and starts hitting rapid elbows, which completely knocks Kidd out. And he gets the victory for it. Is it B. Priestley did not take too kindly to losing to Nixon Newell on last week's episode, the women's match, and apparently there's a rematch going down. That's right, Priestley attacked Newell backstage while Jennifer Louise was shouting for security, not that was going to help. And it seems that next week the rematch is set. Now for the WCPW World Heavyweight Championship match, which was started off with a little shadiness going on because Primate came out and attacked Joe Coffey. But despite all that, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Coffey and Damo had a hard-hitting, good old-fashioned wrestling match. Not as good as their match that they had for the ICW World Championship, but it was good nonetheless. And it was hard-hitting, Coffey with lots of power, German suplex. It was kind of a predictable match for me because I already saw these two, like I say, compete for the ICW World Championship at Shug's house party. So I would imagine I already knew Coffey would be able to suplex him and do all that stuff on him because it wasn't a shock to me. Near falls, plenty of near falls, and it saw Damo retain with his finishing move, and he retains the World Heavyweight Championship of WCPW. And there you have it, guys. Not a bad show. 4 out of 5, 8 out of 10 if you ask me. And yeah, that about wraps it up for this podcast, guys. Good show from WCPW. Very much looking forward to next week. Aaron Stevens will go one-on-one with Damo for the WCPW World Championship. Hopefully Damo, well, I'd say hopefully, that's an understatement, but possibly Damo will have Blampied back. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see next week. And I'll be back next week with another WCPW podcast. Tune in to the Wrestling Matters podcast as well. Episode 124 is already up on the channel, so go and check that out. And yeah, look out also this week for my SummerSlam preview, as well as my NXT preview and CWC review as well. That's right, I'll be reviewing another episode of the CWC. I might do the CWC and NXT TakeOver review and NXT TakeOver preview in the same podcast. I don't know, I'll have to think about that. But until then, guys, my name is Anthony Walker. Until next time, Wrestling Matters on the Wrestling Matters channel, and I'll see you soon. Peace.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change!
Professional wrestling! This is it! This is us standing up!
Yes! Yes!
Yes! Yes! Yes! Yes!
That's 13-14!
Dina, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold Simpson.